Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now June 10th of 2022, and we are getting closer to Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 5, where we only have 2 remaining episodes until the actual finale is taken in place. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you also very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about the future of the Star Wars universe that a lot of Star Wars fans are very excited about has a lot to do with the fact of what George, Jon, and Dave Filoni are currently putting together as a team by not only borrowing a lot of elements from Star Wars Legends, but also using a lot of the unused material for Star Wars Legends that never saw the light of day by George Lucas, of course. So we have a lot of things happening at the same exact time for all of these new Star Wars TV shows. Disney Plus Day is going to be a big time for new announcements. D23 as well is going to be a big time for a lot of new announcements for future projects. So looking forward to that as well. Now, on top of all of this, what's even all the more intriguing is exactly what Jon Favreau had to say about the Kenobi TV series. Now, one thing before we get to that is that we already know that the Kenobi series has been having, a lot of criticism by the fans and a lot of problems here and there with some of the key decisions that were done with the plot. Now, like I say, I talked about this before a couple of times, that the Kenobi series, in my opinion, was very rushed, and Jon Favreau is going to get into that, and how I really do agree with everything that he says, pretty much. So, with that being said, we already know that Jon and Dave had zero involvement with this Kenobi series, and that was the unfortunate thing, is that I feel like anything that Kenobi and Favreau, or should I say, Favreau and Filoni are involved in, is going to be far better than Kenobi, alright? So, you can see exactly how that kind of creates a transition there. When you look at The Mandalorian, and when you look at the Kenobi series, it gives you a good comparison, or a contrast, if you will. So, on top of all of this, currently Disney and Lucasfilm are getting ready to make even bigger announcements by this September for Disney Plus Day, also at D23, for the new projects that both Jon and Dave are currently developing. However, recently, with, of course, Jon Favreau, he actually got involved in an interview where he went on to respond to the Kenobi TV series when he was questioned about how he feels about this show. Jon Favreau went on to state, "Before I really get into this, let me just say that I respect Deborah Chow, and I believe she is a wonderful director. Myself and Dave were not involved in the series, but what I will say is that I would have surely done something very different for this show. We would have done so many different things with these big name characters like Kenobi and Vader. I have seen the criticism of the series, and to be honest, I can't blame the fans for feeling that way. There are parts of that story that are underdeveloped, that needed some more time. It's the main reason why myself and Dave decided to delay The Mandalorian Season 3 until next year. There are way too many moments in the show that feel underdeveloped, like I said, and or rushed completely." Now, I had spoke to Kathleen Kennedy about this before, and she felt and believes that this series was done without any issues in between, which is something that creators always want to face. We don't want to face problems. But to me, this show was obviously rushed in some areas. I personally thought that this was a series that needed way more time to be worked on in principal photography. They released this way too fast and filmed the show way too fast as well. Let's put things into perspective. So it took us roughly 4, maybe 5 months to film The Mandalorian Season 2, and examining Kenobi, which I know, since I know Deborah Chow very well, that of course got done with filming in as little as 2 or just below 3 months. Now, let me just stop right here for 1 second on what Jon Favreau is saying, and how we pointed this out just a couple of days ago, is that the Kenobi series was actually only filmed for 2.5 months, give or take. It really was not a long, period of principal photography. They got done like that. And I'm talking about the real filming, not the preliminary filming stuff, like, location shots and stuff around those lines, like the actual shots that involve actors and characters. Everything was done in just below 3 months. Now, one would argue that, oh, well, maybe that has to do with the fact that it's only 6 episodes instead of 8 like The Mandalorian was. Well, I'm not quite sure it's about that, because it has probably a lot to do with the fact that there's a lot of scenes in this series, believe it or not, that did not require a lot of heavy CGI or anything that was pretty much, very demanding when it comes to technology. Sure, they use the new technology where the actors can just stand on stage and witness the environment around them. I get that. But at the same exact time, there's no doubt about it that a lot of the series did not have overly demanding technology use. So that was another thing that really played a big role. Now, on top of all of that, alright, Jon Favreau goes on to say the following. For what was intended to be a quality series, this felt very rushed way too often in many key scenes that needed more time with editing and especially color correction as well. Look, as creators, I get it. You want to get these things done and meet your schedule. But putting this thing to release as fast as possible, even after filming, wrapped to me is another big mistake. They needed more, of course, time than simply put, and I may make these shows, but I'm also a heavy critic when it comes to filmmaking since it's what I love to do and it's something that I stand for. Now, editing needed to be fixed, improved CGI was needed, very much so in other carefully decided areas, and all of this, of course, as a creator. These are things I just see and have to point out. I have been in the talks with Deborah Chow about some exciting things that we will be willing to talk about in the coming months. That I think, of course, a lot of fans are really going to be excited for sure as well. We are discussing multiple new projects that will involve many of these fan favorite characters, to say very minimally. Now, Jon Favreau, alright? I feel like that he is obviously pointing out the obvious here when it comes to the Kenobi series, and I do agree with everything that he says, and I'm sure that a lot of you out there as well. There's a lot of moments in this show where the editing is very sloppy, it's very rushed, like he said, and not just that, color correction at times, it's off. Now that I think about it and go back and look at it, 100% I agree with that. I won't go into heavy detail because it'll take so much time to go over each and every episode, but there's a lot in there where the color correction is completely off. I don't know about you guys, but the night scenes, I think it was in episode 2, overly dark. Overly dark. I don't know about you, but on everybody else's television that I have spoken to, they said that they could not see a thing on their television in those scenes. So I think that might be what Jon Favreau is alluding to, maybe not, who knows, but I think that at the end of the day, the fact that he just teased that he is in the talks with Deborah Chow about something very exciting also alludes to the major leaks that we've been talking about before in the past, that he is going to be involved in the extension of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, either if they're going to call it a season 2, or just releasing a part 7, 8, 9, and 10, etc., whatever have you. Doesn't matter what way they're going to call it, they are extending the Kenobi TV series in some way, shape, or form. That is Disney's plan right now as we speak. So just keep that in mind as well. So Jon Favreau, I did not expect him to even critique, the Kenobi series, given that he is a part of Lucasfilm and Disney and such, but he did it. I mean, let's face it, he's got a lot more power now over at Lucasfilm. He got, a big promotion along with Dave Filoni that allows him to call the shots even over some of the shows now that he's not even working on. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to morning.